After completing with the topic Lok Sabha, so let us proceed towards the Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha is also known as Upper House or Council of States, and it represents the Federation of States of the Indian Union. That means in Union Legislature, the states gets their participation through Rajya Sabha, and each state will send its Rajya Sabha members to the states by indirect election. And the term of Rajya Sabha, there is no such thing called term for Rajya Sabha, because every member can have a period of 6 years as their term, and one third members retire every 2 years, and this is the house which cannot be dissolved like Lok Sabha, and hence Rajya Sabha is also known as permanent house. And remember this, that each member serves for a period of 6 years and one third of its members retire every 2 years, and the members who served one time may also serve another term, because it depends on the decision of the party from which they come from. And the members who get elected to Rajya Sabha are generally categorized into two types. One is nominated members and the other is elected members. So let us see what is this elected members. The type of election conducted for this is indirect election and proportional representation. So this we will see what is indirect election and proportional representation in later part of the lesson, and let us stick with the thing that the members are elected to Rajya Sabha in indirect way, and these elected members are 238 in number from different states, and the maximum strength that Rajya Sabha can accommodate is 250. Among 250, 238 members are allowed from states, and these members of 238 are elected to Rajya Sabha in indirect election, and the process of sending members from states to Rajya Sabha by election is an undemocratic, and it is based on population, because these members, the states which has highest population, can send highest number of Rajya Sabha members to the from their state. And for example, if Uttar Pradesh, it is having highest population and it can send a maximum of 31 members, whereas smallest populated states like Manipur, Meghalaya and Mizoram, they can send only one each from their respective states, as well as union territories, they also can send very less number of members, and hence the Rajya Sabha is having an indirect election, and the process of election or sending of members is very undemocratic, as it is based on population. That means each state will represent based on its population. And the other kind of members are nominated members. These are directly nominated by president, and the president can nominate 12 members. These members will be generally from, they will be very skillful in different areas of fields like science, art and social service, literature, etc. So that members from these kind of areas can also help the government to, from the areas with which they are very skillful. For example, if you take Sachin Tendulkar, he comes from the cricket background and sports, and he was once nominated to Rajya Sabha so that he can help the government in developing the sports. So this is about the introduction to Rajya Sabha. Now let us understand what is the election of Rajya Sabha member. The members of Rajya Sabha are elected by MLAs from their respective states through proportional representation and single transferable vote for a period of 6 years. So that means the members of Rajya Sabha are not elected by people of states. They are elected by the people's representatives of states called MLAs. So the MLAs from each state who are belonging to their respective parties will elect the members of Rajya Sabha, and this election is of indirect type. That means people will not elect, but their representatives called MLAs will elect, and it is through proportional representation. The word proportional representation means that each state which is having a set of population will proportionately send a particular number of Rajya Sabha members, because every state, if it is having high population, then it will have more number of MLAs, and when it has more number of MLAs, it can send more number of Rajya Sabha members. So this is the proportional representation. That means a state will the state with highest population will send proportionately more Rajya Sabha members. A state with less population will send proportionately less number of Rajya Sabha members, and not only through proportional representation but also by single transferable vote. What do you mean by single transferable vote? If you look at the picture in the slide, there is a sample ballot paper and there is a name of the contestant who is contesting for Rajya Sabha seat, and the other column we have marking order of preference. Here you can understand the term single transferable vote. See, suppose for example a MLA gets this ballot paper and he has to vote, and he has to vote for the listed candidates. So the MLA, what he has to do is he has to give his order of preference to the listed candidates who are contesting. For example, here in this slide we have Ramesh Kumar, Iqbal and Narsingh Yadav as contestants. An MLA by name some ex candidate, if he goes and takes this ballot paper, he ranked Iqbal with first preference, then Ramesh Kumar with second preference, and this Narsingh Yadav with third preference. So in this case, if whoever gets more number of first order votes, then he'll be declared as the winner. Suppose if he is not get if three of the candidates get equal first preference votes, then the election commission will it will count the second preference votes, and even if it comes there, they'll go for third counting of third preference votes, where definitely the candidate will be declared as winner. So hope you understood. That means there is order of preference given by the voters called MLAs to the candidates contesting for Rajya Sabha, and one third of its members will retire every 2 years, and they also have a chance of getting re-elected if the party from which they got contesting, if it permits. And coming to the qualifications, it is same as that of Lok Sabha, that is Indian citizen. He should not be proclaimed criminal, should not hold any office, must have enrolled his name in electoral rolls, should not be of unsound mind, and he should not be in debt, meet all his financial commitment. The only difference with qualification is he should have a minimum age of 30 years of age. That means the minimum age to contest Rajya Sabha election is 30 years, whereas Lok Sabha it is 25 years. So now let us understand the disqualification of members of Rajya Sabha. So this is similar to the disqualification procedure followed with Lok Sabha members. So like if he holds any office of profit under government, or if he's found unsound, not healthy with mentally, and if he's an undischarged insolvent, that means if he is found no guilt for not repaying loans to banks from which he took, then he is disqualified. And if he is proved as a non-citizen of India after getting elected, then his position or he will be disqualified from the Rajya Sabha membership. And also he'll be disqualified if he gets suited for any law made by Parliament. And let us proceed towards the presiding officers. See, the presiding officer of Rajya Sabha is chairman, is generally termed as chairman, and the vice president of India will act as an ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. So the word ex officio here refers to by his authority or status, the vice president of India will act as the chairman of Rajya Sabha, and he presides over all the meetings and all the meetings of Rajya Sabha. That means he allots time for all the members of Rajya Sabha for all the discussions in the house, and he is not eligible to vote, but he can exercise his vote only during a tie in Rajya Sabha. See, the Rajya Sabha chairman cannot exercise his vote because generally he will be referred as vice president, and he will not be belonging to the Rajya Sabha house. Hence, he cannot exercise his vote except during ties. And the Rajya Sabha elects its own deputy chairman, and this deputy chairman also functions similar to the chairman during the absence of chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now let us understand what do you mean by the powers and functions of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. See, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, you know that they constitute together the parliament along with president. That means the parliament of India comprises of president, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So these both houses of parliament are generally referred as co-partners in the functioning of government. That means they must involve together in the law-making process of government, but they should not be like competitive blocks or competitive powers as such. They are supposed to work as co-partners but not like competitive centers in the functioning of government. And Rajya Sabha equally enjoys status and powers in all areas with Lok Sabha except in two areas. One is the financial bills or financial matters, and the other is the responsibility of Council of Ministers. That means the Lok Sabha has a higher authority in financial bills and responsibility of Council of Ministers. Rajya Sabha has no role in deciding about whether a bill is financial bill or not, or it has no role in accepting or rejecting financial bills. Lok Sabha has alone power on such bills, and the Council of Ministers, which include the Prime Minister and other ministers, are completely responsible to Lok Sabha but not to Rajya Sabha. Except in these two areas, Rajya Sabha enjoys equal power and status with Lok Sabha. So in what areas Rajya Sabha will enjoy equal power with Lok Sabha? Let us see that now. In the impeachment of president, that means in the removal of president, the Rajya Sabha plays equal role with Lok Sabha. And similarly, vice president, removal of judges of Supreme Court and High Courts, and in all such removal and impeachments, Rajya Sabha has equal role. So Lok Sabha cannot ignore Rajya Sabha in such areas. It should take Rajya Sabha into consideration. And also constitutional amendments. The Lok Sabha cannot bring on its own these amendments. It needs support of Rajya Sabha also. And if there is a proclamation of emergency in the country, then Rajya Sabha, the permission of Rajya Sabha is also mandatory. And if in any state, if the constitution fails or if the constitutional machinery fails, then the central government can involve and it will impose emergency in the state through the president. And in imposing such emergencies in states, Rajya Sabha also plays a very important role and equal role with Lok Sabha. During the absence of sessions of parliament, the government issues ordinances through president, and these ordinances later have to be accepted by the houses once they meet. And in such ordinances, Rajya Sabha also has an equal role with Lok Sabha. And during a deadlock between ordinary bills or non-financial bills, between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, if there is any tie or deadlock over these non-financial bills or ordinary bills, then the Rajya Sabha also participates in the joint sitting with Lok Sabha and helps in resolving that deadlock. So in our previous slide, we have discussed about how Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha will function together and in which areas Lok Sabha is more powerful than Rajya Sabha. So now let us study what are the powers of these both houses. So these powers are classified into different types like legislative powers, financial powers, judicial powers, electoral powers, and many such powers. So among that, let us begin our topic with legislative powers. See, the word legislative powers means law-making powers. The parliament can make laws on matters in union list, that is defense, foreign affairs, etc., like almost on 97 subjects. And the parliament can also make laws on matters in subjects with concurrent list. So along with the 97 subjects in union list, the parliament is also empowered to make laws on 47 subjects of concurrent list where the state and central are having equal powers. And when both center and state make laws on the same subject, especially with related to concurrent list, then the central law will prevail. So what do you mean by this union list, concurrent list and state list? If you look at the pictures here, then you can see the central government having certain areas or subjects on which they can make laws like defense, banking, currency, foreign affairs and communications. And the state governments, they have certain areas on which they can make their laws like agriculture, irrigation, trade, and both central and state can make laws on the concurrent list. Now the middle circles shows that, like education, forest and marriage, adoption, and all such areas, both governments can make laws. Hence here the parliament can make now laws on the 97 subjects in union list as well as the 47 subjects covered in the concurrent list. And if both central and state make laws on concurrent list, then the central law will prevail, and all bills other than money bills can originate in any house of the parliament. If it is not a money bill, then it can be started in any house, and no bill can become law until both houses agree. So all ordinary bills introduced in Lok Sabha, or either it may be introduced in Rajya Sabha, both houses should agree on that. And in case of a disagreement or a deadlock between ordinary bills, then such issues can be resolved by the joint sitting of both houses, which will be organized by president. And so this is about the legislative powers, like can make laws on union list, concurrent list, and if it is concurrent list, the central law will prevail if both state and central makes on same subject. And except money bills, all other bills must be ratified by both houses of parliament, and in case of deadlock, the joint sitting will help to resolve the issue. So let us continue with our legislative powers of both houses of parliament. So there are residuary powers for the parliament. That means there are some areas which are not covered under union list or central list or state list or the concurrent list. On such areas, the union parliament can make laws. For example, urban planning is not included in any of the three lists that are mentioned. Hence, the union parliament can make laws on such matters which are not included in any of the three lists. Such powers are called residuary powers. And the parliament can even make laws on certain matters of state list, or that means the parliament can make law during the proclamation of emergency in the state. That means when there is a constitutional failure in a state, the parliament assumes power to regulate the affairs of state. And when the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by two-third majority that the state subject has assumed national importance, that means if there are certain issues in a state and it is very important, and on such important issues the Rajya Sabha can pass a resolution by two-third majority and can initiate the lawmaking process of states. And if two or more states demand the parliament to make laws on their subjects, then in such situations also the parliament will make laws. And coming to the ordinance making powers, that means let us see what is ordinance. Ordinance is a temporary law issued by president when the parliament is not in session. The law has to be, that means when parliament is in session they can involve in lawmaking, but when the session is not there, then the government through ordinance, which are nothing but temporary laws, it will implement the required laws. In such situations, if the law has to be again placed before both houses for approval, that means the law has to be placed before both houses for their approval again in the next meeting. When they are not in meeting, the parliament can issue ordinances, or the government can issue ordinances through, or can make laws through ordinances, and once the both houses meet they have to approve them, otherwise it will not be effective. So the ordinance passed must be approved by parliament within 6 weeks of their reassemble. To make you understand, the picture in the slide will talk about an ordinance. The government of Ministry of Law and Justice has issued an ordinance on banking sector, and it was promulgated, that means it was passed by president, or it was issued by president. So this is just for your understanding. I'm showing you in the picture an ordinance. So in continuation of our legislative powers of parliament, so let us now discuss what is the legislative role of parliament during emergencies. That means there are there if during certain situations in a state, in any particular state, the constitutional machinery, that means law and order problem will get created, and the state's constitutional machinery will fail. And during such situations, the president will declare the emergency on the recommendation of state governor. That means I'll tell you here with an example. During Andhra and Telangana bifurcation movement, the state chief minister has resigned and the government was dissolved. And when there is no government, then it is a constitutional emergency. That means the constitution is not functional in that state. During such situation, the governor of Andhra Pradesh state has recommended the president to impose president rule or emergency in the state. And for making such emergencies in the state, the parliament will involve, and through president the emergency will be declared in the state, and the parliament during such emergency situations of the state will take up all the law-making process and financial matters of that particular state. So even sometimes the parliament has even made passed budget for a particular state during emergency situations. And proceeding towards the judicial powers. So with this emergency, we are ending with the legislative powers of the parliament. And now we are proceeding towards the judicial powers. Judicial means like the parliament can remove president from office through procedure called impeachment. Suppose if the president of India works, or if he exercises his duties against the constitutional terms, or if he is proved of misconduct, then the parliament can impeach him through a process of impeachment, or remove him through the process of impeachment. And such power is called judicial power of parliament. And the parliament can even remove with a two-third majority, and two-third majority in their house, also judges of Supreme Courts and High Courts, including the Chief Justice, the Chief Election Commissioner, and Comptroller and Auditor General. You might be knowing this Supreme Court and High Court judges and Chief Election Commissioner, but who is this Comptroller and Auditor General? So Comptroller and Auditor General is a constitutional post which was created by our constitutional makers to audit all the accounts of the state and central governments. That means the expenditure made by the central and state governments in the form of budget allocations, all such things will be audited by Comptroller and Auditor General. In removal of such constitutional posts like judges of Supreme Court, High Courts, Chief Election Commissioners, and Comptroller and Auditor General, the Parliament exercises its judicial power to with a two-third majority and can remove them. So in the below picture you can see the president has proclaimed a national emergency. So this during such emergency situations the parliament assumes a very important role. So in continuation with the judicial powers of the parliament, we have studied that the parliament is empowered to remove president, Supreme Court, High Court judges, and the Comptroller and Auditor General. Among this, let us study the impeachment of president a bit detail. See, in any of the house, either it may be Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, the impeachment motion can be, or the impeachment of president can be served with a notice of 14 days, and the house will sign a resolution on, in which the notice has been served, and the resolution is passed, and this resolution must be passed with two-third majority and sent to the other house. So that is the house in which the charges have been made against president should pass a resolution with two-third majority and must be sent to the other house. So these charges can be started in any of the house. If it starts in Lok Sabha, it goes for Rajya Sabha, or if it is served in Rajya Sabha, it comes to Lok Sabha. And once this resolution of two-third majority is passed to the other house becomes investigating house. And during the investigating process, the president can also appear and say his version of things. And if the house is satisfied with the investigation, now as per the investigation, if the president is found to be guilty and if two-third majority of the investigating house pass a resolution, then the president is stand to be impeached. And this is about the impeachment of president. So after the judicial powers of the parliament, let us proceed towards the constitutional powers or functions. That is, the both houses of parliament can amend the constitution. The word amendment means a change in the word or in the law or document of the constitution. That means if they have to bring any changes in the constitutional provisions or features, then that process is called amendment. The parliament has constitutional functions or powers through which they can amend the constitution. To or to do such amendment process, the constitution or the parliament must pass a resolution with two-third majority. So two-third majority is compulsory in both houses of the parliament to bring any changes in the constitution. And along with the constitutional powers, the parliament also enjoys the punishment, or it is also empowered with punishment powers. That means the parliament can punish a person for obstructing parliamentary works or showing disrespect to the house. If somebody is found disturbing the affairs of the parliament, or if somebody is showing disrespect towards the affairs of the houses, then the parliament can even take action on such people. That is punishment which comes under contempt of house, or breach of privilege, which we have studied earlier. And coming to the electoral functions, so the word itself says that the parliament elects certain people, like, so the parliament along with state legislatures elect the president and the vice president, the speaker of Lok Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha deputy chairman. So these are all the electoral function of the parliament. So now let us begin to understand the financial powers of the parliament. So in the financial, all the financial bills can be originated only in Lok Sabha. Such money bills or financial bills, they are sent to Rajya Sabha for its approval or its recommendations within a time span of 14 days. If Rajya Sabha doesn't approve it, it doesn't matter, because Rajya Sabha has no role in advising or recommending or approving money bills. Even if Rajya Sabha approves it or not, if it make recommendations or not, money bills can be approved and passed by Lok Sabha. And the parliament also passes the union budget for financial year. As you know that the financial powers include the expenditure and the income for the government. So the parliament passes the union budget for the financial year of the country. And when the union budget is passed during the budget session of the parliament, then if the amount authorized for that particular year is not sufficient for the government, it may ask the parliament for supplementary grants. That means the amount allocated for that particular financial year based on the income that the government has received and the expenditure it has, then the government will seek the permission of the parliament to allocate supplementary grants. And if the union budget is not passed before the beginning of new financial year, then there would be no money for the executive to spend. Therefore, the parliament uses vote on account to draw funds from consolidated fund of India till new budget is passed. That means, so now you have understood supplementary grants. That means once the budget is introduced, then if the government feels that to certain areas the grants allocated or the funds allocated is not sufficient, then through parliament they can take extra amount of money. This will be always expenditure, the supplementary grants. And in the same way, if the budget is not passed due to some reasons, if the government is unable to pass its financial year's budget in parliament, for example, now you take, suppose if this due to corona and all other things, the parliament is unable to meet, and it is unable to pass the budget. During such situations, any emergency situations, if the parliament is unable to pass the budget, then it will fail to draw money for expenditure. So for spending money, it needs that permission. So what parliament does at that time, it uses vote on account to draw funds from consolidated fund of India. So this consolidated fund of India is nothing but it is a fund created to where all the taxes, direct indirect taxes collected, and all the things coming from state governments, everything is stored. It's like a official account of the government of India. So at this point of time, they can directly withdraw money through vote on account. This is completely expenditure, may not be like a complete financial union budget, but for the expenditure, for the till the union budget can be introduced, they can use vote on account to withdraw funds. And the salaries and allowances of member of parliament and ministers is determined by the parliament, and no tax can be imposed, or the government has no permission to spend money without the approval of parliament.